Okay, this is 8.1. First problem is wants us to find the vertex, focus, and directrix of a parabola. Now these are the equations right off the formula sheet, so make sure you know where those are because we're going to be using this for everything. Okay, so I'm giving you all this information, which is everything you need to know. You can compare this equation and you can say that, okay, it's right here. I have y is what's squared and not x, which means that it opens right or left. And then you can say, okay, well, I'm going to compare now and find k. You can even write the equation right by it if you want. And you can see what h and k are right away. So k is 7, h is 8, and p is 4. Now I can use that information to answer everything. The vertex is always hk, so that's 8, 7. The focus is right here, which is h plus p comma k, so it'd be 8 plus 4, which is 12. Comma 7, and the directrix is the line x equals h minus p, so it'd be 8 minus 4, which is 4. So you could graph this if you wanted to. The vertex is at over 8 up 7, and the focus is at 12 7, and the directrix is at x equals 4. So the parabola looks like this. Keep in mind the definition of a parabola is all the points that are equal distant from the directrix to the focus. So those lines will always be equal, no matter what point you're at. So you can graph these if you want, but I'm probably not going to graph a lot of these. I'll probably just fill out the information that's needed and move on. All right, now the next one's tougher because you have to complete the square on this. It doesn't give you what we're looking for, which is where you have a quantity squared, like the formulas have here. So we're going to need to complete the square on this. So I need to add something to this left side right here in order to make this a perfect square trinomial. So I have y squared minus 16y, and I want to add some number to both sides. And that number is always b over 2 squared, if you remember. So b is negative 16. Negative 16 over 2 is negative 8. So I want to add negative 8 squared to both sides. Now, negative 8 squared is really the same as 8 squared. So on the right side, I had 4x minus 8 squared, and so, 8 squared. So I'm going to add 8 squared, and obviously those are going to cancel. Right? The negative goes away because I'm squaring that negative. So I'm really adding 64 to both sides. But I usually don't write it as 64 right here. The reason why is because when I go to, this will now be a perfect square trinomial, so I'll take this and put it right here. So y minus 8 equals, and that's squared, equals 4x. So now it's in standard form. Now I can use these formulas up here and compare. I'm on the right side again, opens right or left. I'm not subtracting or adding anything to x. So my h is 0 and my k is 8. You can write this right above if you want. Y minus 8 squared equals 4x. So if you want to write even x minus 0 there, you can see that h is 0 and k is 8. And then the focus is h plus p comma k. So my h is 0, and my p is then, if you compare 4p, p must be 1. So that's another important piece of information. So my focus then is negative 1. I'm sorry, my directrix is x equals negative 1. My focus is h plus p. So it would be 0 plus 1, which is 1, comma k. And k is, once again, 8. All right, so the next one then is already in this form, so we can write it right above here. X minus 4 squared equals 4 times y minus 4. You can compare and see p is 1 for this problem, and h and k are 4, 4. So when it wants the vertex, that's just 4, 4. The focus then is h, which is 4, and then k plus p, so it'd be 4 plus 1, which is 5. And the directrix is a line y equals k minus p, so it'd be 4 minus 1, which is 3. So once again, you could graph these if you want. You go over 4 up 4 for the vertex. Focus is at 4, 5. Directrix is at the line. Oops, I'm sorry. 4, 5 is right here. And the directrix is at the line y equals 3. So the parabola would open up and look like this. All right, and there's a way to graph this in a calculator as well, actually. If you go to apps, there's conics apps on some of your calculators, not on this one, but you can type stuff in there as well. I think this is still the best way to do it though, with the formula sheet. Okay, so then the next one, the last one, is once again one that we have to complete the square on. So we have x squared plus 32x, and we're going to have to add something to both sides to make this a perfect square trinomial. And that something is always b over 2, which is, in this case, 16. We have to make that squared. So we have to add that to both sides. And this factors then into x plus 16 squared. And then the right side, if I add these two numbers together, I get 228. So then I can factor out 4 from both of these. And I get this on the right side now, y plus 57. So what I had to do first is put it in standard form by completing the square. And now you can compare it up here. So I could write the formula next to this if you want. X minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. And now you can compare and say, okay, well, h is negative 16 here, and k is negative 57. And then the focus is at h comma k plus p, so it'll be negative 16 comma k plus p, so k is negative 57, but I have to add p, which is 1 in this case, so it'll be negative 56. And the directrix is the line y equals k minus p, so it'll be negative 57 minus 1, which is negative 58. Okay, this next one gives us another formula, y squared equals negative 17x. Now I'm going to write the relationship that I know from the formula sheet right here, which is this has y squared, so we're going to have to use the right column. So it's y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. So you can see that k is 0, so I'm going to write down h and k. And h in this case is also 0. It's x minus 0. So this thing's centered at the origin. Now p I have to find, and the only way to find p is to set these equal to one another. So I have 4p equal to negative 17. So divide both sides by 4, and p is negative 17 over 4, which is kind of weird, but that's what it is in this case. And so if I want to find the focus is right here. It's at h plus p, so that's 0 plus negative 17 over 4, comma k, which k is 0. So that should be my answer right there. And actually all they're looking for is this first x coordinate for the focus, which is just this negative 17 over 4. So I don't need the order pair. All I need is negative 17 over 4. Okay, the next problem wants to know which way these open, up, down, left, or right. This is our regular parabola. It's actually in vertex form, which we're used to. And because a is negative, we know that opens down. So that's going to be b. This is our regular parabola that's been shifted, 6 units left and 9 units down. But that opens up. So that'd be A. The next one's open right or left, and I'm not as concerned. You can pretty much guess and check for this one. This one turns out it opens left, and this one opens right. Obviously, you could easily get the answer if you just start writing this out. So you can compare it to, we have y squared in this case, so you'd have to rearrange it to get it in this form. And then you could see where the focus is, where the vertex is, where the directrix is, and exactly how it opens. And you could draw an exact graph of it using this information here. So that's what I'm more concerned about, questions like that, because that answers the question of whether it opens, what way it opens, and much more. But for now, those are the answers for this one. Okay, the next problem gives us the focus and the vertex. So sometimes it's going to give us like clues, and we're going to have to find the equation for ourselves and find other pieces of information. So I always like to draw a rough sketch when they give me clues like this. 416 is up here, and then 47 is like here. So this is a parabola. They told me this was the vertex, so I know it opens up or down. It goes like this. And the distance that we are from the vertex to the focus is p. And that actually, you can get that from here as well, because the directrix to the equation y equals the y coordinate for the vertex minus p. So the directrix would then be, we'd have to subtract p, which in this case is 9. So it would be down here at like -2. Because, you know, these points, and I didn't draw this to scale very well, but all the points of this parabola should be equal distant from the directrix to the focus. So now I can fill out all the information. I know this opens up or down, so it opens up. I'm going to use this. X minus h, h is 4. And then we know p is 9. Like I said, if you're not sure, they gave us the focus as well, so you can always just set this equal to what they gave us for the focus. So because h is 4 and k is 7, you can set this point equal to what they gave us for the focus, and then just compare. 7 plus p equals 16, therefore p is 9. And then I have y minus k. K is 7 in this case. So there's my formula. Now they want to solve for y, so I do have to solve for that variable. So a little bit of algebra, but not much. This is 36 and y minus 7. So I just divide by 36 first, and then, you know, you can drop these parentheses, and then I would add 7 to both sides. So you end up with y equals x minus 4 squared over 36 plus 7. You can enter it in like that. That should be fine. And then it wants the equation of the directrix. I already found that down here, but you can always just use this right here, which is k minus p. So in this case, it's 7 minus 9, which is -2. All right, the next problem gives us this equation and has a vertex, wants us to find it. So we're going to have to complete the square on this. We did this earlier in the year, actually. I don't know if you remember. It's been a while, but this is no different. In fact, I'm going to move the 43 to the other side, so I have y minus 43. And then I'm going to complete the square. So first I need a to be 1. So I'm going to factor out a 3 from everything. And that gives me x squared minus 12x plus something. I'm going to add something right there in order to make this a perfect square trinomial. All right, and that something's always b over 2. So -12 over 2 is -6 over 2, which is just 36. So I could write that, but I like to leave it there because I know just to take the -6, put it right here, quantity squared. Now, I have to add to the left side what I added to the right side. So I added 36 inside of these parentheses, but 36 is going to get multiplied by 3 because I have to distribute this 3 to every term. So I'm actually adding 108 to both sides. So be careful about that. Whatever you add inside these parentheses gets multiplied by this and then gets added to the left side as well. So if I add that to -43, then I get y plus 65 right here. So there's my equation. And now if I compare it to the formula on the formula sheet, I actually have to rearrange it a little bit. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Divided by 3 is the same as multiplying by 1/3. So I'm going to multiply by 1/3 to both sides. And now I get this equation, x minus 6 squared equals 1/3 times y plus 65. So that's a little weird, but now I've got it solved so that I have my x, quantity squared equals 4p, which in this case is 1/3, which is weird. And then this quantity y minus k, which in this case k is -65, and my h is 6. So it's 6 comma -65. Okay, the next problem it says the directrix is x equals 5 and the vertex is at the origin. So I'm going to quick draw a sketch of this, -5 being back here. So this is x equals -5. My parabola then looks like this. And my focus has to be at the point 5, 0, because the definition of a parabola is that these are equidistant. So either way you look at it, you can find p. P is 5 then, because it's the distance from the focus to the directrix. You could also look at these. Since they give us this, you can compare and say, okay, h is 0 minus p equals what they said x was, which was -5. And you can get p is 5 that way. Either way you look at it, you can plug it into the formula. The formula is y minus k, which is y minus 0 squared equals 4 times p, which is times 5, times x minus h, which would be x minus 0. And so this is 20 right here. All right, if you compare this to up here, you find that a is 20, and I can just leave this one blank, and that should do it.